Hey there, Jake here from CVP. Today we are taking a look at Panasonic's latest firmware for the S1 II, S1R2 and S1 IIe. These updates bring a range of awesome changes and additions, so let's quickly go over all of the changes before delving deeper into some of the larger updates. When Panasonic announced the S1 II and S1 IIe, they also announced a new set of firmware, and this included a large update for the S1R2, which came out a few months ago. This S1R2 update brings its feature set in line with the two other new cameras. This includes some minor updates which we've detailed on screen now, such as being able to customize how LUMIX lenses behave when manual focusing, the new urban sport recognition mode in autofocus, and the SSD backup function, which allows you to offload from your camera to an SSD via the USB-C on the camera. The two large changes specifically for the S1R2 have to be the updates to the external output and the ability to shoot 8.1 and 7.2K OpenGate. Having the ability to shoot 3x2 OpenGate in such high res is awesome. You are limited to 23.98p in 3x2 8.1K, but when you window down to 17:9, you can choose from 23.98, 25 and 29.97p. In 7.2K, which is actually downsampled, you are limited to 25p and 29.97p. These modes are limited to just MOV and some MP4 formats with no ProRes option, but you will be able to output them via HDMI, which could be a good option for some. The image quality of the internal recorded MOV files looks really good. The footage looks detailed and clean on an 8K resolve timeline, and it also plays back well. Having this nice large resolution 3x2 mode will be great for video users needing high resolution video, such as for product advertising work, delivering portrait edits for social media content, and landscape for traditional platforms, as you get the extra height that a 3x2 aspect ratio gets you overshooting 16:9, which makes it much better for multi-format delivery. All three of these new cameras can output RAW over their HDMI to both Blackmagic and Atomos recorders. Personally, I think the ability to record Blackmagic RAW externally is the most interesting, as all of these cameras can already record in ProRes RAW internally. And the big compromise of ProRes RAW is that you can't process it through Resolve, which a lot of people use in their workflows now. So grabbing a Blackmagic Video Assist and shooting external B-RAW could be a good solution if you're going to be using a larger monitor with the camera anyway, and want to process your rushes through Resolve. As we had this firmware a little bit early from Panasonic, we couldn't record any clips of the S1R2 externally as our Video Assist wouldn't recognise it, but we could with the S1 II. You have to enable RAW video in the menu, and this changes what recording quality settings you can select from. The Video Assist then recognises what format it's in, and you can record from there. When shooting, you can choose from two different compression types and a range of ratios. The Video Assist 7-inch we have with us for this video can record onto either SD cards or via the USB-C at the bottom onto an external SSD. This means that you are limited by the data rates of your media, and like on other Blackmagic devices, it doesn't restrict you with what you can attempt to record. It will either just drop frames or stop recording, which you can choose between in the menu. Using this Angelbird V90 SD card, we hit record limits in 5.9K 17:9 at 60p at 3:1 compression, so we had to drop it down to 8:1 compression to reduce the data rate. Blackmagic have some recommended media on their support page for the video assists, which could come in handy here, but you'll probably need to do some testing. Anyway, I've put a link to this in the description below. When these B-RAW files hit post, they behave exactly as you'd expect from Blackmagic's RAW footage. However, you cannot adjust your ISO, but there is an exposure slider. It plays back well, colours nicely, and looks good overall. If you do decide to shoot externally, you can actually enable proxy recording to your internal media as well, while also recording RAW externally, which could come in very helpful. Right, onto the updates that apply to all of the cameras. First off, you now have the ability to use multiple frame markers. This is great when you're shooting video from multiple deliverable formats, which is incredibly common in today's work. You can dive into the menu of the camera and find the function here. In here you can set up to 3 frame markers, and you have a huge range of aspect ratios to choose from. You can change the colour and also the size and position of the frame. You can also adjust whether you have a mask around the largest aspect ratio and dial in the opacity of this. You can also toggle whether you want to adjust the frame guides with touch on the live screen or not. If you have this enabled, you can tap on the screen and then move and scale your frame using the dials. Say for example you shoot in 3x2, you can set guides for 16:9, 9:16 and even 4:5 all simultaneously, so you can frame with both landscape and vertical formats in mind. It's a really nice addition and will certainly be used by people who are shooting video for modern business and delivery, us included. Up next, we have a note that says HLG View Assist parameter change. And what Panasonic have said that this means is that it's a slight tweak to improve the color tuning of this function over the previous iterations of it. You can also now change the color of the frame that appears when you are using autofocus. There's a bunch to choose from, and this could be handy for different scenarios with different lighting. They've also updated the camera's support with the LUMIX Flow app. We haven't used this too much yet, but it looks like it has some pretty cool features now, such as live monitoring both wired and wirelessly, and live view distribution, and of course, probably the largest update has to be the ability to use ARRI Log-C3 across all 3 of these new cameras. If you want to keep up to date with the latest and greatest kit, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to buy anything in this video or want to get your hands on these new Panasonic cameras or any other kit for that matter, head over to cvp.com where our experienced team is waiting to help you. Panasonic introduced Log-C3 into the GH6 and GH7 previously, and it's great to see it in these cameras as well. This is an ARRI certified implementation that has been designed to improve the workflow over Vlog. To get access to Log-C3, you'll need to grab the DMW SFU3A key, which will allow you to unlock this feature in the cameras. This is a pretty easy thing to do. It requires you to export a file from your camera and then upload an activation key to your camera. Once you've done this, you can now just go into your photo style and then select the ARRI Log-C3 profile. There is a separate view assist for Log-C3, which is nice, and as you can with Vlog, you can apply your own monitoring or recording LUTs. ARRI have a range of scientific and creative LUTs, which you'll be able to use in camera or in post. These LUTs can be imported directly into the camera easily by just dragging them onto the root of your card and going into the LUT library setting on the camera and importing from there. You can store loads here and then load them into a custom My Photo style using Log-C3 as the base profile. This allows you to bake that look directly into your video if you'd like. ARRI have created loads of LUTs, which means that there'll probably be one out there for your next project. But a nice, more scientific 709-ish LUT worth downloading is definitely their ARRI Classic 709 profile via their LUT generator. Links to all of these are in the description. Unfortunately, you can't access Log-C3 when in stills mode, which I think is a bit of a shame. I love the idea of being able to use Log-C3 with an ARRI LUT and tunable grain, which you could then shoot JPEGs of straight out of the camera. With how popular photo, film recipes and everyday carry cameras have become, I think Panasonic is seriously missing a trick here. It would be pretty awesome and I think very popular with end users. When going into Log-C3, your base ISOs get slightly lower across the board compared to Vlog. Here are the differences. So with this upgrade costing just under £180, is it worth grabbing when you can just shoot Vlog and do a colour space transform in post? Well, let's take a closer look. You can't record Log-C3 while in RAW, so all of these tests are in a mix of MOV and ProRes formats. We also had an Alexa Mini, which we wanted to include in this comparison as well. So we grabbed the S1 II, S1R2, Alexa Mini, and a lovely 85mm Ultra Prime, which actually covers full frame absolutely fine and shot some examples across all the different cameras. Looking at Vlog with Panasonic's Vlog to 709 LUT and Log-C3 with a standard 709 ARRI LUT, we can see a clear difference in colour and contrast between them. But this is quite easy to match when in Resolve. If we compare Log-C3 against Vlog with a colour space transform in Resolve, I think they are close, but the Log-C3 image has a slightly nicer skin tone to my eye. Sam's face looks more saturated and better tonally, but you should be able to correct this again in post as it's a pretty subtle difference. Let's take a look at how the cameras compare to our Alexa Mini. The biggest immediate difference is the resolution difference between the Panasonic cameras and the Alexa Mini. But given neither of these Panasonic cameras have OLPFs and their high resolution sensors and formats, that's hardly surprising. Though I do think I missed focus ever so slightly on our outside tests. Sam's skin looks much less pink in the Alexa footage than the Panasonic cameras, and this falls in line with how the Alexa Mini usually looks. It definitely shifts more green on average than other cameras. I think both cameras look really nice, but personally I prefer the skin tone slightly on the original Mini. Which do you prefer? Let us know in the comments. It is impressive how close mirrorless cameras have gotten to cameras like the Alexa Mini, which are still used by productions across the globe for its excellent blend of image quality, reliability and feature set. Are you unlocking extra image quality with Log-C3? Well, if you are taking your footage through Resolve and colour space transforming it to Log-C3, not really. But if you are wanting to take advantage of ARRI's Log-C3 workflow fast, using it internally will be a great option that will save you time in post. It also opens up the ability to use these LUMIX cameras alongside ARRI cameras and match them very easily using the same LUTs. It will also make handing footage from these cameras off to an editor or colorist much easier, as Log C3 has been about for years and has become a bit of a standard, so this will make it easy for them to work on as well. As we've mentioned, it also allows you to choose from ARRI's extensive library of scientific and creative LUTs. Links to those are in the description. If you want us to explore this feature further or have any other questions, please let us know in the comments. Oh yeah, another interesting thing that I didn't mention in our S1R2 or S12 review is how awesome the charger is that comes with these cameras, just because of this simple little feature. If you insert a battery, the rough percentage remaining of that battery will quickly flash up on the charger without needing to plug it in at all. This is awesome and will be very helpful when you're out shooting. It's great to see this firmware come to these cameras, and it makes these already incredibly well featured cameras even better. The firmware we've been running was an early review release, but the full firmware should be available to download on the 24th of June, so keep an eye on Panasonic's website. These cameras are so well featured now, especially the S12, which has received a lot of love online for its insane specification, feature set and nice image. If you want to check any of these new Lumix cameras out, drop demo@cvp.com an email to book a demo at our UK or Belgium showrooms. Or if you're unsure which Lumix camera might be best for you, check out our comparison video which we just released last week. Link to that is in the description. Anyway, let us know what you think of these new firmware updates, and if you have any further questions down in the comments below. And if you like the video, please give it a like and maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss out on our awesome upcoming content. And thank you so much for watching.